All right, let's dive right in because we've got some huge news that's really shaking things up in the U.S. housing market. We're talking about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the two giants that are basically behind almost every mortgage in America, and a new government plan that could totally change their future. So this whole thing really kicked off with this one quote. It's from FHFA Director Bill Pulte. At a recent conference, he pretty much said a huge decision about an IPO, an initial public offering, is coming, and coming soon. This is the bombshell that really gets this whole conversation started. Now, hang on a second. When you hear IPO, you're probably thinking, great, they're finally setting these companies free from government control. But here's the twist. That's not what's happening. Not at all. The actual plan is way more complicated and honestly kind of surprising. Okay, so let's break down exactly what was just announced. This is the real heart of the new plan for these mortgage giants, and you've got to pay attention to the details here. So here's the deal in a nutshell. First, and this is the big one, Fannie and Freddie are staying in what's called conservatorship, which basically means the government is still running the show. But while they're still under government control, the plan is to sell off up to 5% of their shares to the public. It's this weird hybrid thing, still state-controlled, but with a little slice of private investment. Now, to really get why this is such a monumental decision, we've got to take a quick step back. You might be asking, who exactly are Fannie and Freddie, and why should I even care? Well, they matter a lot. Just look at this number, 70%. This one single figure is the key to understanding, well, everything. What on earth could it represent? That's it right there. 70% of all mortgage loans in the United States are backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. See, they don't give you a loan directly. What they do is they buy mortgages from banks. This keeps a constant flow of cash going, which lets the banks keep offering loans to people like you and me. They are, quite literally, the bedrock of the entire housing market. And ever since the 2008 financial crisis, that long ago, they've been in this conservatorship. The best way to think about it is like financial intensive care run by the government. They were on the brink of collapse, so the Federal Housing Finance Agency, the FHFA, stepped in to take control and stop the entire housing market from going down with them. And they've been in that state ever since, for 17 years. So, this IPO announcement didn't just pop up out of nowhere. The pressure to do something with Fannie and Freddie has been building and building for a while now. So let's look at the timeline to see how we got to this point. Things really started heating up this year. Back in May, President Trump started talking about taking the GSEs, that's what they call them, government-sponsored enterprises, public. Then, by July, he's in one-on-one meetings with the CEOs of the biggest banks. Come August, the administration is floating this IPO plan, throwing around a figure like $30 billion. And then he posts this bizarre AI image hinting at some new merged company. I mean, the speculation was just running wild. It's been a crazy, fast-moving story.
So that brings us right up to today, and what's next? With all the different ways this could have gone, why this specific plan? What does this choice really tell us about where things are headed?
This is where it gets really, really interesting, because you basically have two paths. On one hand, full privatization, a total release. That would be an absolute beast to pull off. We're talking years of work trying to solve these huge, thorny issues about their capital and that government guarantee. Then there's this partial IPO. You could call it the easier, faster option. It just sidesteps all those massive problems for now. And crucially, it keeps that government backing in place. So for an administration that wants a win, this is definitely the path of least resistance. And let's not forget about the money. That $30 billion figure that was floated, that's the prize they think they can get from this initial sale. That is a ton of cash that could be raised pretty fast just by selling a tiny piece of these absolutely massive companies. And all of this leaves us with one final and really critical question. Is this whole partial IPO thing the first real step toward changing the U.S. housing market for good, or is it just a temporary fix? A way to raise some quick cash and claim a victory on a problem that's been festering for nearly 2 decades. The answer, whatever it is going to shape homeownership in America for years to come.